The small family restaurant buzzed with warm chatter and the comforting smell of fried chicken, but for Clara and her little daughter Lily, it felt like walking into a world they didn't belong to. Clara's hands shook slightly as she held a worn wallet with only a few crumpled bills inside, praying it would be enough for at least a small meal, while Lily, curly-haired, bright-eyed, and innocent, clung to her mother's hand, her empty stomach growling softly. Clara had not eaten since the night before, choosing to give whatever little food they had to Lily, and now she was hoping to buy even a single bowl of soup before slipping out quietly so no one would notice her poverty. But the moment they stepped inside, Lily's eyes drifted toward a nearby table where a well-dressed man in a crisp blue shirt sat with his son, their table overflowing with golden fries, crispy chicken, warm bread rolls, and cold drinks. Lily froze, her tiny fingers gripping the edge of a chair as she stared at the food with the kind of longing only a hungry child could have, and Clara's heart cracked. She gently tried to pull Lily away, whispering, "Come, sweetheart, don't look, Mommy will get you something," but Lily didn't move. Clara swallowed her embarrassment and turned toward the counter to order the cheapest thing she could afford, wishing she could disappear before anyone noticed how desperately she was counting coins. But someone did notice. Michael Grant, a quiet millionaire known for his kindness but also for his deep loneliness. He was trying to enjoy lunch with his son, yet his eyes kept drifting toward that little girl with the pink dress, her curls glowing in the sunlight, staring at his food not with greed, but with innocent hope. Something tugged inside him, a memory of his own childhood when he too had gone hungry many nights before life changed. He watched as Clara, cheeks flushed with shame, handed the cashier a small amount of money and whispered humbly, "Just a cup of soup, please," her voice trembling because she feared it wouldn't be enough. The cashier looked at her with sympathy, nodded, and prepared the order while Clara stood awkwardly, pretending everything was normal. But Michael saw everything: the empty table where the little girl waited, the worn-out shoes the mother wore, the way she tried to hide her fear behind a tired smile. When Clara received the soup, she walked toward Lily and gently set it down, whispering, "Eat slowly, baby," even though Lily clearly wasn't full. The girl dipped her spoon carefully, her eyes still drifting toward the plates of food on the millionaire's table. Clara noticed and quickly placed her hand over Lily's, forcing a smile. "This is enough for us, sweetheart." But the truth was written all over her face. She wished she could give more, but life hadn't allowed it. She began packing her things, preparing to leave quietly before anyone pitied them, but just as she took Lily's hand and turned away, Michael stood up from his table. Clara froze, embarrassed and confused, as he walked toward them with calm, kind eyes. His son watched curiously, knowing his father rarely approached strangers. Michael knelt to Lily's height and said gently, "Hi there, are you still hungry?" Lily looked at her mother for permission, and Clara's eyes widened as she pulled Lily behind her, stuttering, No, we're fine, we were just leaving," her voice filled with fear that he might think she wanted charity. But Michael shook his head softly and replied, "Please, don't feel embarrassed. I just saw your daughter looking at the food, and I couldn't ignore it." Clara's eyes filled with tears. She desperately tried to blink away as she whispered, "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bother anyone." Michael smiled kindly and said, "You didn't bother anyone. Let me treat you both to lunch. No obligations, no pressure, just a meal." Clara shook her head frantically, torn between pride and desperation. She didn't want to accept kindness she couldn't repay, but she also couldn't bear the thought of her daughter going hungry again. Lily tugged at her mother's hand and looked up with hopeful eyes. Clara exhaled shakily, her voice barely audible as she said, I don't know what to say." Michael gently replied, "Just say yes. Let your little girl eat." At that moment, something inside Clara broke, the fear, the pride, the loneliness, and she nodded slowly. Michael stepped aside and said warmly, "Come sit with us." As Lily's face lit up and Clara followed with trembling steps, she had no idea that this simple moment would change their lives forever.